Alrighty, so we are on week 3, question number 12. What is the greatest common factor of 54 and 45? So let's first talk about what factors are. So factors are numbers that could multiply together to be that. So let's think about the number 54. Okay. Numbers that can multiply that can be 54. So we have 9 and 6. We have 54 and 1. We have 2 and 27. Trying to think if there are any more. 5 and 9 and 6, 54 and 1, 2 and 27. I don't think so. I think those are the only numbers that would multiply. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so then we have 45. So let's think of numbers that multiply to be 45. Well, obviously 1 and 45. I know that 5 and 9 multiply. I think that's it. Yeah. So once you list the factors, we'd have to first know what a factor is. Now let's find the ones that they have in common. That's the next step. So they both have 9s. They both have 1s. I think that's it. Okay. But now the last question it wants is the greatest common factor, and that would happen to be 9. 9 is the biggest number that they have in common. So this is the same procedure, greatest common factors. Let's go ahead and do some lists of 16. Numbers that multiply to be 16. We have 1 and 16. We have 4 and 4. You don't have to write the next 4. That's fine. We have 2 and 8. I think that's it. 4 times 4, 2 times 8, 1 times 16. Yeah. So now let's do factors of 48, numbers that can multiply to be 48. I know that there is 1 and 48. There is 2 and 24. There is 4 and 12. There is 16 and 3. I don't know. This is why having good math fluency is good to have. I can't think of any more. Okay, so I listed all the factors. Now I just have to find the common ones. Well, they both have 1 in common. They both have 16 in common. They both have 4 in common. They both have 2 in common. Oh, you know what I forgot? 6 and 8. Those are factors. Well, they both have 8 in common. Okay, so we did all the common factors. Now we just got to find the greatest common factor. And the biggest one is 16. That is the biggest number that they have in common. All right. Now, multiples are different than factors. Multiples are when you make it bigger. So multiples of 8 are they're not numbers that multiply to be 8. Multiples of 8 are 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 8 times 4, things like that. So what you want to do is we need to find the least common one. So we're going to list the multiples of 8 and see, and the multiples of 12, and the very first one that they have in common, that's their least common multiple. So let's just list a couple of them of 8. We have 8 times 1 obviously is 8. Then we have 16, 24, 32, 40. That's just a couple of them. Now let's do 12. We have 12 times 1, 12 times 2. Hey, I don't even have to go that far. I can see that the lowest number that they have in common when I list out their multiples is 24. So that would be their least common multiple. This one, question 15, we have to give a number that represents the anchorage, a temperature below 12 degrees. All right. So if we're talking about a thermometer, oops, and we have filled up this thermometer to 12 degrees. Usually a thermometer has 0 in the middle. This is 0 degrees. And it is below 12 degrees. That means it's down here. For something to be below 0 or less than 0, they have to be negative. So this would be like -1, -2, -3. Only numbers that are positive are going to be up here. So because it is below 12 degrees, you would write it with a negative sign and then 12. This is a number that would represent below 12 degrees. Okay. This is a number line. It says, I asked you to plot, I'm asking you which one of these represents the opposite of -5. Okay, so the opposite of -5. So this is 0. I want you to picture this is like your mirror. Okay, now where is -5? Well, if it's a negative number, it must be to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is -5. So it's definitely not A, because I want the opposite of -5. So if I were looking at a mirror, and where would where would be the other side of the mirror? Well, if it's 5 places to the left, it must be 5 places to the right, which is the number 5. This is B. So B would be your answer. It's a complete opposite of -5. All right. This one goes the same. You don't even need a number line. A complete opposite of a number, if it's negative, its opposite is just positive. So it's just the number 15. If it was positive 15, the opposite of that one is -15. So this one, it deals with a number line. And this one has to deal with numbers and these bars. So it's been a while since we've seen these bars. And these bars represent something called absolute value. Absolute value is its distance from 0. So let me explain that. This is my number line. -1, -2, -3. And then we're going to do 1, 2. So absolute value, if I were to say, okay, what's the absolute value of 2? How far away is 2 from 0? Well, it's 1, 2 hops, so this would be its absolute value. I'm sorry, let me actually put the bars. 2 is its absolute value because it takes 2 hops to get from 0 to 2. Now, what if I were to ask you the absolute value of -2? It is not -2 because you can't take negative hops. You're going to start at 0, 1, 2. It is still 2. Even if it's a negative number, it's not asking that. What it's asking you for is how far away is it from the number line. So if I were on a number line, and if I were at -20, I'm at 0, I would have to go 20 hops to the left. So this absolute value is 20. For this one, if I were to start at 0, get to -22, I have to keep going, blah, 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 blah. I would go negative. It would take me 22 hops to get there. So this one's actually a little farther than this one. It would take more hops. What about this one? Start at 0. I'm going to go to -21 and then just like a half more. So this one would be 21.5. That's the distance. That's what absolute value means. So this one's still not as far. It can't be C, and it can't be A, sorry. So he's still holding the highest distance from 0. Now this guy, even though it has these bars and it is a negative number, we are just trying to see how far away it is, not the number itself. So I'm at 0, and I know that I need to look this way. I know I'm going to go all the way to 22.5. So I'm going to go past 22 and then a half more. So this one actually is the farthest away from 0. It happens to be the lowest number, but these absolute value bars represent the distance from 0. Those are what absolute value bars are. All right, 2 more, guys. This one, Chicago has a temperature of -8 degrees. So I'm always wanting to, this is my thermometer, this is 0, and this is -8. So this is Chicago. The opposite would be +8. This is Chicago. And Seattle has a temperature colder than Chicago. So when I'm talking colder, I'm not even going to use the word, I'm going to go blue. I am talking about colder. We are going down here. Select values that could represent Seattle. So I know that Seattle has to be down here. It's got to be lower than -8 because it's colder. Okay, so the number 13. If I'm at 0, +13 is way up here. It is definitely not colder than -8. We're not going down. What about 10? So I'm at 0. That's 10 degrees to the positive. Man, that's over here. That's not lower. What about -10? So if I'm at 0, I have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 more. This is definitely colder than -8. The same thing, -13 would be farther down, and -21 would be even farther down. Whenever you see that select all, man, it means there's more than one answer. Okay, very last one. The dot plot below shows how many apple slices each girl at Kayla's party ate. Which of the following represents the mean? Oh, we need the poem. Hey diddle diddle, the median's in the middle. You add and divide for the mean. Okay, so what that means is these are our numbers. We're going to use the dot plot. This, how you read a dot plot is that means 1, 2, 3, 4 people said the number 3. 8, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm going to write them. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 2 people said 4, 5, 2 people said 5, 2 people said 6, 1 person ate 7, oops, 2 people ate 8. All right, so now we're going to do some adding. I'm going to lump them. I know that this is 12. I know this is 8, 10, 12, 7, and 16. So we're going to do some more. 12 plus 8 I know is 20. This I know is 22. And this is 23. 20 plus 22 is 42. Plus 23 is 65. So 65 is my total. Now add and divide for the mean. So I have to divide by how many numbers I had. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 girls. So we have to divide by 13. I'm just going to make myself some room. 13 goes into 65. I do not know. I'm going to go with one of these answers. I'm guessing it might be 6. Let's try 13 times 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 more is 78. Nope, that's too much. So let's try 5. 13 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 1 is 6. Hey, it goes in exactly 5 times. So your answer is 5.